Hello and welcome to the Razor's Edge. This is Hutch, and my guest today is Stefán Stefánsson, drummer with the Icelandic band The Vintage Caravan. They've just released their fifth album, Monuments, and it's received very positive reviews. During our interview, we talk about the album, making it during the pandemic, touring with Opeth, doing a live show with an erupting volcano down the road, and whether or not Icelanders prefer campervans to caravans. Well, let me start with congratulations on the latest album because it's a fabulous album. Really enjoyed listening to it. It's been out a few days. How's the response been? Are you happy with it?
Oh wow, yeah, it's been incredible, the response. We just recently found that we are on the 21st place in the German album charts.
Yes, I saw that.
Which is fantastic. Yeah, we've been getting great reviews from all kinds of places, and yeah, I think it's giving us a lot of hope in these difficult times, you know.
Indeed. The reviews I've read, as you say, have all been very good, and they're talking about it being your best album, your most sophisticated album. As a band, how do you deal with reviews? Do you read them all, or do you pick bits out of them, or do you try and avoid them? How do you deal with reviews as a whole?
I mean, it's almost impossible to avoid them completely. I think it is important to kind of reflect on what you've done through other you know, reviews and stuff. But me personally, I don't really read much of them. I don't know why per se, but normally when I put the things out, whether it be music or photography or anything, I just like to kind of put it out and kind of leave it alone and walk away and let it do its thing and not to worry too much about.
Sure. Yeah. Are you someone that likes to let the music settle before you listen to it again once you've recorded it?
Yeah, it's very nice to take a long break from like your own music and come back to it. With this album, it was a bit difficult because we had such a long mixing process after we recorded. We had our dear producer Ian Davenport. He recorded the album with us here in Iceland, and then he flew back to England where he was mixing it in his studio a few weeks or months later. So the mixing process was, you know, slow as we were mostly giving him notes through emails and so we kind of it was a bit tedious because we are all kind of listening through our own separate devices. One is listening in his car and in his personal stereo, and one with his headphones, and so we kind of get a bit of a, you know, different experience. But I think that's also positive because you kind of have to go through all these ways to listen to this song, and in the end it turned out to be like a great sounding album.
Yeah.
I think he did an incredible job with production and mixing, Ian, on this one.
I agree. Yeah.
So we had this album like constantly in our ears for like the past year.
Yeah. So was the recording different to how you recorded Gateways in terms of how you got together, or did you manage to do it? Because I think that you managed to record it before the pandemic started. Is that right?
Yeah, actually the pandemic kind of hit while we were in the studio. At least the news came about it kind of starting to spread around in Iceland while we were in the studio. So I think we didn't have we had a few days before the full lockdown when we were done with the album. So So yeah, sorry. What was the
No,
the
I just wondered how different was it recording
Oh yeah,
this one to Gateways, or was it very similar?
yeah. It was similar in many ways. I mean, we of course we did the album with Ian, the Gateways with Ian
Yes.
as well, and there was the kind of a similar process. We flew him over here to Iceland. We booked a great studio for Gateways. It was a studio was a little bit further away from our homes, so we kind of stayed in the studio as well, which was kind of different for this one. And for this one, this is studio which is just very local to us. And the studio itself, it's much more of a gem in the Icelandic music history. It's a
Yeah.
much older studio. It was designed back in 74, I think, by the same guy that designed Electric Lady Studios and a lot
Okay.
of other great studios. So we never stayed. We never slept there for one. We always went home late at night. We came very early, went home late, and otherwise it was quite a similar process. But of
Yeah.
course, the environment was quite different, especially sound-wise. We were much happier with kind of live, like the natural sound of the studio.
Yeah.
Um, and so kind of it was much more inspiring to the sound to play.
Brilliant.
We didn't have to change a lot of things. We just
Uh-huh.
let the kind of room do its thing.
Sure. Sure. I understand. So this is your second album with the band, if I'm right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously you've been with the band for 6 years, I think, 5 or 6 years now. But
Yeah.
um, the writing process and the recording, did you feel more comfortable on this album because you were on your second one? Did you feel more relaxed with the band?
Yeah, I would say so. The writing process was also different in some ways that there was some more of whole songs coming into the band
Yeah.
as to as to like riffs and thoughts. Like for instance, Alex has been getting more and more into recording, engineering and stuff. So this was kind of a new thing that he was making like full demos for songs instead of
Yeah.
bringing a riff into rehearsal and so the song came in much more of as a complete, and then we kind of did the details together in rehearsal and stuff. Yeah.
Great, great. So talking about the album itself, what I love about it is the flow on it, because for me, having listened to it several times now, the Whispers is obviously a song that's designed. It couldn't be anywhere else but at the start
Yeah.
of the album. It is that song, and then you've got Crystallized, which is I want to see you guys play that, because you're never going to keep it to 7 minutes when you play it live. It's going to go on and on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real jam track, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
It's a real,
Love it. Yeah.
yeah. And then you've got obviously the quieter stuff, like This One's For You, and then you've got, people have said, that you've got Forgotten, which has got that kind of Deep Purple intro, and then there's that lovely Allman Brothers feel on Torn in Two as well. So you've got lovely flow, different, lots of I was going to say retro sounds, but actually the sound isn't retro apart from kind of the influences there. So there's this balance for me about, it's got that lovely old feel, but it's still fresh and contemporary. Is that a fair observation of how you wanted the sound to be?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the influence is obviously there. It's obviously like the classic 70s rock bands,
Yeah.
but we're not trying to be a retro band trying to
Mm.
sound like an old band, but we have the kind of the same heart, I guess. So we're not shy to make it sound modern, but the core, yeah, it's rock and roll, and yeah, the flow was it was a bit tricky to line the songs up in an
Mhm.
order that makes you kind of stick to the album. And it's important to break up these very busy and crazy songs with these moments of calm and
Yeah.
clarity. So
Sure.
yeah, it's nice to break it up with like these, especially these
Yeah.
two calm songs.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Give you a little time to breathe.
Yeah, as I said, crystallized is there is no way you're going to have to restrict it possibly to doing your headline shows because you're gonna turn it into a 10-minute, aren't you? I mean, there's just no way you can.
I mean, it's definitely tempting. There's
Yeah,
definitely a place for that in that song. Yeah, it will be exciting to extend some of these
yeah,
songs in a live setting. I mean, bands
sure,
used to do that all the time, but of course, we're usually restricted with a harsh time border, so
sure.
we'll try to keep it. And now it's gonna be tricky to involve the old songs with the new ones, and
Yeah.
we just kind of only want to play new stuff,
Mhm.
right? Can't
Of,
wait
of,
to.
of course, that's what you should be doing. And
Yeah.
talking of live stuff, obviously today we've had the announcement that you're going to be playing some live shows next year. Certainly, I'm very pleased because you're going to be playing, if all things go well, you'll be playing in my home city in Cardiff in Wales. So we'll be able to see
Yeah.
you down the road, which will be great. Obviously, you're a band that thrives in the live setting. I've seen you several times live, and that's what you're about. You are a live band. Even your
Yeah.
music when you record is live. How difficult has the last year been in terms of not being able to play?
Um, yeah, the not being able to play part has been definitely very difficult indeed. Like for every musician out there. Um, we've been kind of lucky with the fact that we finished recording when the pandemic hit, so we've managed to spend this time on improving the album and just kind of taking our time with mixing and stuff, so it's not been that horrible, but it's yeah, we've this time has been was already reserved for not playing a lot of shows because we've just been waiting to release the album before we
Yeah,
can follow it up. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely overdue, and we were continuing to delay the album release until it was just not worth it to delay it any
yeah,
further,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's very very difficult to release an album and not do a tour right after,
Of
and
course.
keep the word warm, or whatever you say.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I mean, we've found ourselves other things to do
yeah,
in the meantime, jobs or hobbies, or just been working on different aspects of our lives.
yeah. Of
So
course.
in a way, it's been nice to have a break from the band touring madness,
Yeah.
and kind of go back into reality, and focus on everyday life, and you know for maybe grow some other talents or hobbies you might have.
And have you have you?
Yeah. Well, actually, um, right before this hit, I was getting really much a lot of back into photography, something that I've been very very into for a long 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 time. But I decided to get myself like a proper camera and proper equipment. So I definitely used this time to go about the country and hike and take photos like a crazy man. It was definitely very beneficial to that
Brilliant.
aspect of my life, and
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that as much, and yeah, now I've grown this other talent of mine to the point where I want to like do this professionally, and
Great. Yeah.
can do that alongside with the band. And now I'm very excited to bring in the camera on tour and do something with that. And yeah.
That's great. That's really good. That's excellent. And you did the recorded show at the end of March, which went out on, I think it was the 27th of March.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but how was that in compared to doing a normal show? What was the pluses and the negatives from it?
It was as fun as doing a normal show. I can tell you that much. I mean, the planning process was a bit more complicated, of course.
Yeah.
We were working with this new platform called Venue, which is an Icelandic platform designed to stream concerts. So it's like
Yep.
tailor-made for musical concerts. So that was like an exciting project to be able to jump on, and they had like this big production behind them, and so we rented out this like big, like huge restaurant somewhere like in Grindavik, which is actually coincidentally right next to the volcano that's currently spewing on.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And during the time where we played the concert, there was like a big earthquake surge, like a 3 week long earthquake surge. We had like over 2,000 earthquakes per day, and they
Wow.
were all located where the volcano currently is now.
Yeah.
So that was a bit like a few miles from the venue actually. And while we were playing, there was a few earthquakes, and after we played, that we were tearing everything down, we felt like a big one and just shook the whole building. And yeah, it was exciting.
It made you play faster, did it?
Yeah, definitely. I think we caused it, but you can never tell. But
Yeah.
yeah, we had a few people there, in like actual people. Not a lot of people because of restrictions, obviously, but
Yeah.
enough people to kind of give us the vibe and the
Great.
feeling of playing to a crowd.
Sure.
So all in all, I think the concert turned out really
Yeah.
nice. It was way better and more exciting, I think, than just a normal live concert recording.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it
Sure.
was a lot of production put into this, which would make it more interesting than your video on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. So, as I said, you're very much a live band, and I was lucky enough when you were last in the UK. I think I saw you at the Damnation Festival, and then I saw you the following night in Bristol when you were supporting Opeth.
Yeah.
And at Damnation, I was in the room when you guys were sound checking, which was
Oh yeah.
you had a really good time. You were playing, I think you were playing Aha and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Careless Whisper.
That's
I
right.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That
I
was
think
a
there were
fun
about
soundcheck.
I think there were about 40 of us standing in there, and I think that was probably as good as the actual show because we just saw you really natural and just enjoying it. Is that how you always sound check? Are you
I
always
mean,
messing around, or was it just that particular gig?
when we have time, I think this was a particularly long time we had for
Yeah.
soundcheck, and we were in a good mood that day, and yeah, we always try to have fun with the soundchecks because they tend to get very repetitive and
Of
boring
course.
if you take yourself a bit too seriously. So yeah, you gotta have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously you were with Opeth as well for part of their tour or for their UK dates certainly, and you've got I think the rest of the dates are next autumn, aren't they? Are you back with them? Is that right?
Yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
a second tour, or a third technically. We did this long tour with them in last 2 years ago
Yeah.
when we came to Leeds and Bristol. Then we did like a short Scandinavian run, which was 3 shows,
Yeah.
and then they invited us back for another European run, which has now been delayed until
I
what is it?
think it's
The
September
fall
or something like that. Yeah.
fall of 2022.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you obviously did something right. They obviously liked you enough to invite you back a couple of times. How was
Yeah.
it? Opeth are one of my favourite bands. So how was it touring with a band who are superstars now, aren't they? I mean, they are a big band nowadays compared to what they were 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean they're one of my favorite bands too.
Yeah.
I was listening to them maybe 12 years ago. I was a huge fan of them, and so this was kind of surreal to be actually like supporting them in a tour. Had to pinch myself a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah,
And they were great. I mean, they were super friendly and invited us to hang out a lot. We got along really well with them, and
yeah,
I think that's we kind of clicked in a way. So that I think that's what had them, invite us back. I
yeah,
think we just had some nice chemistry, like similar interests in similar music, and yeah, just we, we we try to be as professional as possible, and try to respect all boundaries of this kind of big band we're touring with, and
yeah.
so I think that really helped as well.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
And you always look like you're enjoying it. I mean, Oscar
yeah,
and Alex are running around on stage a lot, and I often wonder. I mean, you're as energetic as you can be. Do you ever wish that you were like out front running around with them? Because they never stand
yeah.
still apart from when they're in front of the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, I would be running if I could. If
Yeah,
I had like this mobile drum set that I could strap onto my chest or something, then
yeah,
yeah, sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I try to do as much as I can with the physical boundaries that I have.
Absolutely, yeah. I was actually shooting it. I was in the photo pit at Bristol, and
Oh yeah, cool.
trying to actually get them, I had to wait for them to stand and do some singing so I could get a
Yeah,
shot of them because
yeah,
they were
yeah.
just too quick.
You were quite close. I think we had like
Yeah,
a couple of meters
yeah,
of space, stage clearance in front of
yeah. I've
the
got a
open
shot
stand.
of you from about 2 meters away or something. So
Yeah, yeah. I was only a couple of hits away from like dropping my bass drum into the photo pit. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Um, so just to finish off now, obviously, Vintage Caravan is the name of the band, but I was looking in Britain, a caravan is something that we tow behind a car.
Yeah.
When I was looking at Googling caravans and stuff in Iceland, it looks like it's nearly all camper vans.
Yeah.
So, is there a difference? I mean, do you have caravans in Iceland, or is it nearly all camper vans?
Yeah. I mean, this is I think of course obviously have we have both, and I've never really thought about what the difference between a camper van and a caravan is. I mean, to me, a caravan is something that you pull,
Yeah, yeah,
but the camper van is like you drive the fucking camper
yeah,
itself.
yeah,
Um, but I think in this context of the band name, it's more of older version of Caravan, like a gypsy caravan or
yes, of
what
course.
have you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can see on the covers of Voyage and
Oh,
Monuments.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah. So then from there, I looked up on eBay vintage caravans for sale in the UK.
Yeah.
Um, and the average cost of a vintage caravan in the UK is about £5,000 sterling,
Oh,
which are
so
for very old caravans. So I just wondered if you have you ever stayed in a caravan?
uh, mm, not really. We had a vintage caravan as a backstage in a festival we did in Czech Republic
Yeah.
one time, which was it was hilarious. And but I think Hard Rock Hell has a lot of caravans as well as like
Yes.
backstage
Yeah.
rooms. And
Of
but
course, you
yeah,
played there, didn't you? Yeah.
yeah, a couple of times
Was that the one in North Wales in
in Fally or
Pwllheli? Pwllheli. Yeah.
Fally, yeah.
You did well there. That's
Oh,
better than
thank
most English people pronounce it.
you.
Yeah, those caravans can be very cold in the winter. I've stayed in them a couple of times, and
Yeah,
I think one night we slept with the heaters on the oven on the gas just to
yeah.
keep the place warm, which wasn't very safe, I'm sure, but
No, no, no.
brilliant. Okay, so just obviously we've got the tours coming up, so hopefully things are looking better for you in terms of playing live stuff and things, which will be
Yeah,
brilliant because we all want to see our bands back on the road. It's
Yeah,
great
definitely.
doing all these interviews and watching the streams, but we really want to see you 2 meters away from the photo pit, really.
Yeah, same, definitely.
Yeah. So just a final question. Apart from the Vintage Caravan, are there any other bands that you would recommend to people that listening to this interview that they should check out that have caught your attention this year? Anything that's
You mean Icelandic bands or?
anything, any bands that you listen to that you've thought this is a really good album this year?
This is tricky. I mean, my mind always goes blank when it's
Yeah.
forced into remembering specific things. But
Do you
God,
listen? Are you able to listen to much new music, or what do you focus your music when you're listening to it? What kind of things do you listen to?
I try to watch like new releases and stuff. Like, I mean, this month is a great month for new releases, like with Royal Blood and Gojira and Greta Van Fleet and stuff.
Mhm.
I've been enjoying the new Royal Blood material a lot these days. But I mean, I also really like discovering new to me old like prog metal bands and
Yeah,
these like,
yeah.
undiscovered gems that like no one's ever heard of before, like
Sure.
these Italian prog rock bands and stuff.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to go there.
Fabulous.
Spotify helps me with that sometimes with
Yeah.
their
Absolutely.
magical algorithms.
Great. Stefan, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. I know it's been a busy day for you, so thank you very much. And as long as everything permits, I will see you in Cardiff next year.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, take
No
care.
problem. Take care. See you soon. Bye now.
Bye bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website www.therazorsedge.rocks.